Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Monday Night ParaSlam. So, just say a couple of hellos to everybody before we get going and do a few shares. And we got John sitting in the background at the moment. We're just awaiting on potentially Trisha coming on at some point tonight. She's not had the best day, so she may not be on. And we're waiting on Phil to come on as well. He's currently on another live, so we'll start off with myself and John. So just do a few hellos. Hi to Paranormal Postmortem on Drew and Tila on YouTube. Hi Bumfluff's Hell House Paranormal. Dawn Thay, hello. Hi Tracy, our mod. Susan Johnson, hi. Kirsty Cole's a mod. Hi, how are you? Helena Evans, how are you? Marion Lethan Stewart, how are you? Lynn Wiles, how are you? Melissa Grimmer, thanks for coming on. Carrie Elaine Pierce, Natalie Young, Leon Mark, Sarah Arson, Tara Coles, hi. Karen Young from Gloucester, hey, my hometown. Sue Hicklin, how are you? Jean Rutledge, Tracy Evans, there we go. I'm saying Tracy Evans again. Sam Harley Wilmore, how are you? Sam Pritchard, hello. So I'm just going to introduce John. You've probably seen hi David Gilding. Hi Mick Day. So you've probably seen John on the other week. He was on, him and Phil were on discussing bits and pieces. The other week, discussing obviously Red Rich X's group and also discussing their podcast Beyond Paranormal, Beyond Dimensions, I should say. Get my words out. Hi Marita, hi Nita Davis. Hi Phyllis Ross, hello Zoe Myers. No Kirky tonight. Thought you two came hand in hand. Diane Milligan, Pollyanna, hello. Kirsty Moore, hi. Right, hello John.
Hiya, hello everyone.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, great, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm just going to do a bit of sharing very quickly.
No problem.
I was about to share it to your group then.
Yeah, I've just done that one.
Yeah,
that'll save you one. I hope everyone else
yeah, that saves me getting booted from one. So we are tonight. Not only are we live on Facebook and YouTube, but I don't know if you can see it, we're also live on Periscope. So we are currently streaming live on Twitter via Periscope. So it's a bit of a first, really. I've never been streaming on, as you can probably, so if you don't know if you can see here. So we are currently streaming live on Periscope via Twitter. So thought we'll see what that's like tonight, see how we go. Might have to look at some mods on Twitter depending on how many people start watching it, but it's certainly a new platform and certainly something else to look at and try and build. So as usual, ParaSlam, those of you who don't know what ParaSlam is, basically what we do is we come on, we talk about anything and everything that frustrates us in the paranormal industry, with exception of groups and people. So if anybody does want to come on, I'm going to pin the link to the bottom of the chat, and let me just wait for that to come up on my screen. And what we'll then do is anybody who wants to come on, feel free, you're more than welcome. Just a couple more hellos to Grant McCleary, hi. Where are we? I did see Rob Skull then a minute ago. Hi Lisa Deacon. So I'm just waiting for that to flag up on my screen now, actually. For some reason it's not flagged up. The link hasn't, so it'll flag up in a minute, hopefully.
Well, everyone.
So we'll just give it a minute or so, let a few come in, and see what's what from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's recently it's been quite nice as well.
Yeah, I know, mate.
Yeah.
I was just sat in this room a minute ago, and I put my jumper on because I'm still in. I believe it or not, I'm still in my PJs. I've been lazy today, really lazy. So I've been bitching and moaning the last God knows how many days with regards to how hot it is in this room. So I bought a fan, and I come in here a bit ago. I was talking on the phone to Natalie, and there's and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, it's actually quite cool in here.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? It's like and then frustratingly, so there's me with this new fan that I bought. And I haven't turned it on, so I'll be putting it on in a sec. So I'm just going to put that again in the chat. I'm going to turn my fan on because I'm getting rather warm. There we go. Hopefully that won't affect any of the... So does everybody like my nice new background?
I was just about to say, I like this one. Yeah.
I was having a mooch around earlier on, and I thought, it's ParaSlam. I'm going to replace the background. So anyway.
You had the church one as well, didn't you?
Say again?
You had the church.
Yeah, well, there was so I've had a couple of different ones. I've had actually can one of the mods can you possibly pin the StreamYard link into the bottom of the chat if possible? For some reason it's not flagging up on my yeah, no, I had the graveyard, I had an abandoned building. So I had a few different ones. I've had two different graveyard ones actually. And so this one's nice and new and it looks quite cool.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, so if anybody does want to come on, I'm hoping we can pin this bloody I don't know why on earth it's not flagging up. If any of the mods are seeing that link, please pop it on. That'd be amazing if you could, please.
Also, since this lockdown's been on, when we do return to investigations, I hope all these chats will continue as well. Because
we'll try.
Yeah, it's good because there's all different people talking to each other. You get to know quite a lot of things.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why we did that page that you mentioned, because there's a lot we do before we go to an investigation, and then after the investigation, a lot goes into it, and sometimes that's some of the best stuff. Yeah,
that's it. I mean, obviously, once lockdown's over, obviously we'll be open to get back out and visit some venues and things, and then fingers crossed we'll be able to do some investigating properly. There we go. So it should be pinned now at the bottom of the chat for Facebook. Let me see if it's on. Let me get onto YouTube very quickly, and we'll see if we can make sure it's pinned on there. Oh, no, it's not working. There we go. Right, so that's it. It's pinned. So if anybody wants to come on and have a chat, discuss with regards to anything frustrating in the paranormal industry, but as I say, we do not talk about people or groups. Maybe we talk about ways of doing things like that, but we don't necessarily name teams or do anything like that whatsoever. So what sort of is there anything, any specific things equipment wise that frustrates you then, John? What sort of equipment's the worst that you believe?
Yeah, well, so there's a lot of equipment out there, and there's a lot what I like. It's certain EMF meters as well. First, straight away, that's first one. I like the ones with analog dial, but I think some are just. I don't know if you've noticed, but some are very sensitive.
Yeah,
and they'll pick up a mobile phone from such a distance. You literally cannot use it because it's just forever fluctuating. And so we usually test ours. to see, you know, how sensitive they are. I like the tri-fields because you can look at what you're actually going to be picking up, and then you can do your base readings and things. But first of all, some EMF meters, yeah, you could literally take them out and it'd be they're too sensitive, and they just trigger on slightest thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be my first one. Because I got one a couple of months ago actually, and I realised it's just like that. It weren't expensive as well. So sometimes you get what you pay for, but again, at the same time, I don't like how if you're going to buy an EMF, if it's been labelled paranormal or for ghost hunting, the price it can become extortionate, because they stick that money on because it's for that field.
That's it.
Yeah. So
I'll be honest with you, I can't really sort of say much about that because it's a typical trait of when you have a shop online that you're selling that you stick something like paranormal ghost hunting and equipment in it, and obviously then it instantly people, because the biggest thing that people search for is they put paranormal equipment or they put ghost hunting equipment in. Do you know what I mean? So that's the thing. It's just one of those things, frustrating, and it's frustrating. I know I'm a culprit of it in the past. As I say, when I had a shop myself. So, but yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, there's a difference though, because sometimes you pick out the best things for paranormal. So then it becomes different. But some things are literally, here's that item here, and then here's this item here, and the difference is just because it's literally being repackaged. But but it's the first one is definitely the EMF. That one I got, it was pretty cheap, and it literally triggers pretty much anything you do. Just
is that one of the black digital ones?
It is, yeah. It's really simple. I'm actually gonna take it to bits and use it in an experiment.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to use that.
We used to take them apart and put REM pods in them as well.
Did you? Right, yeah.
That's one thing we used to do, was put a REM circuit into it as well. But so yeah, they're not the. That's the thing. That's one of the biggest problems with EMF meters, I guess. Is the main, is that they are very much sensitive to anything. And the worst thing ever is when you're live streaming, obviously.
Yeah. And then also, I found you've got to stick to correct like mobile phones. I bought a phone. It was a decent spec, but the make, it weren't one of mainstream makes, and it appears fine to start with, but then when you start going live, it doesn't broadcast that well. It starts to show up. So you've got to use some. It's good to get a decent phone when you're doing all that. So equipment wise, I tend to concentrate on getting a decent phone, and I like decent EMFs as well, just for base readings really. So yeah, those especially.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, we see obviously one of the biggest. I mean, everybody who's watched these ParaSlams over the last couple of weeks knows that my biggest bugbear is cat balls. Obviously, with the exception of cat balls, I mean, one of the things we see a lot of groups using is static devices, so such as the parascopes and these sorts of things.
Yeah.
I mean, we see people and they go near it and it sets it off, and it's. I don't know what your thoughts are on static devices. I mean,
what it is, I get what you're saying, because you put it down, you know, you want it there for evidence, but then when it goes off, it could be that many different things.
Yeah.
You can't then. It's hard to then use it for like evidence as such. So I think it can only work if you try and link it in with something else, like you know, can you make that ball go off at the same time as saying hello in an EVP? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Just by itself, yeah, it does seem hard to use them, really.
Yeah.
Do you use them at all, or
What do you mean? Well, static devices or cat balls?
Yeah, cat balls.
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't use them whatsoever, mate.
No. Yeah.
I'm honest to God, I just, you know, they're the biggest. Sorry, I think they are the worst bit of equipment any of us use. Personally, that's my personal opinion. I'm absolutely certain there is, you know, because on the circuit board there is a timer chip to make so that because the timer chip is designed to be able to make it flash for a certain length of time before it stops.
Yeah.
Okay. The timer chip can also have a timer setting into it for how long it goes, you know, for setting it off at certain intervals. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
you know, you see, the thing is, if you, one of the things you don't know with these cat balls is there could be a setting when you press it once, it's like on a torch, you know, when you press it once and it turns on, you press it again, it turns off, you press it again and it strobes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, hi Sue Greeno, hi Kaz Barrett, so hi Jojo Smalley as well. And I meant to say thank you, Robin Pratt. Hi, how are you? So basically, what I find is that you know, what I'm wondering with them is have they got a setting on them that when you press the button once and it turns on, okay, it goes into a mode where after so long it will set, you know, it sets itself off at random times to stimulate that cat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is there a setting on it when you press it again and you press it and then you turn it on again? Is it so that is there a setting so that it then also turns on, but it doesn't go off unless it's moved?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
because it seems so bizarre that you can put two next to each other on a shelf on these investigations, and everybody seems to get one of them going off and not the other.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so I mean, yeah, so if something really did go past it, they both should go off, shouldn't they?
They should really. If something was, they should really go off. You know, and if it was paranormal, surely would you not be able to put one end of a shelf and one the other end of the shelf and say to the spirit, you know, yes, go to that one, for no, go to that one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But this is the problem is that everybody stands. I find that people they stand there and ask for the cat ball to go off as and they look at that as communication as such.
Yeah, I mean, we might have done that and that, but we do these things to like build up activity. But I get you. We can't use it as evidence in end because it's the same as sometimes those. Now you've made me think because I've wrote it down actually. You know the vibration devices where you put them on a surface.
Yeah, geophone.
Yeah. Now what it is, I think they're all right, but in most investigations, it's pretty pointless because we had one and it seemed to be going off quite well, but then we realised there were pipes underneath our floor.
Yeah.
So we could never tell if it were vibrations from pipes. You know, again, I can't use that because
if you buy a proper geophone, though, John, a proper one has a little pot setting on it, like a dial on it, which you can dial it down, so it's really not very sensitive. Do you know what I mean? So it takes quite a knock to be able to make it work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Which then it just kind of isolates it to that one area. So really, you'd need a few, around build. So I think I've come away from the idea of those, really.
Yeah.
But,
just a couple of quick shout outs very quickly. So, hi, Christine Townsend. How are you? Hi, Reva Meadows. Hi, Steve Hemingway.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, Jessica Balson. So, as I say, just a bit of a recap for anybody, those who don't know. So this is John from Red Ridge X. He also has, obviously, his brother Phil as well. They're both, Phil hopefully will be on in a little while. They both have the Beyond Dimensions podcast. Tonight, we are not only streaming to Facebook and YouTube, as we usually do, but we're also streaming live to Periscope on Twitter. So we've got 3 different things we're streaming on tonight, seeing what it's like, seeing if we get any, seeing what the Periscope side of things is like, as I say.
I want to say it's a good setup you've got.
We're just seeing what's like. It's just StreamYard, that's all. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Hi, Debs Harris as well. So anyway, so just going back to these, things like this, though. I mean, these are static devices, obviously, so they pick up on static. So it goes from positive through to negative. So anything, so when you turn it on, you see, obviously, if there was any static around it, you can see the lights on the back of it. So that means it's switched on. If there's any static going around it, then you'd see colors light up. I don't know if I can get it to work.
On the beard?
On the beard.
That's it.
No, it's not. It's obviously no static around. So basically, it's a case of. Go on.
Yeah, I want to say, which I've used that device as well, that kind of device as well. It might be that same type, and I found it is hard to trigger it sometimes. Quite a lot of times, when you want to.
Yeah.
So when you do, I had an investigation going on. We had ITC running. We were asking questions, and we were getting responses that were lighting one of those devices up, and it kept it were on point quite a lot of times, only for about 5-10 minutes, and then it just stopped.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't know. We tried to figure it out, and we couldn't really. So we did say we thought to ourselves, because there were a few other things happening at the same time. We liked that. We like that session, but it doesn't happen often. But I know what you mean with those balls. It is hard to convince me on them.
Yeah. So we've got a question from Gary Davis. What equipment do you both use on investigations? Well, let's list a few bits of equipment, and then we'll list our frustrations with them, shall we? So those of you who don't know, ParaSlam very quickly is just to reiterate again. ParaSlam basically is a night where we come on, we air our frustrations about equipment and techniques and things like that. We just don't air our frustrations with about other groups and people. It's just so we can come on to see whatever other people's frustrations are in the industry, and we sort of go from there. Obviously, we're not here to completely slag off anybody or anything, as I say. We're just here to air our frustrations. We all have different views on certain things, equipment, and, as I say, ways of doing things. So it's just good to have a bit of, a discussion about frustrations and what we do and don't like as such. So hi, Donna Oates, how are you? Hi, Jack Davis as well. So equipment that you use generally then, John, when you're on investigation, and what frustrates you about those bits of equipment mainly?
Well, I mean, sometimes we start off just with a pendulum, if we're just walking around an area that we're not too sure of.
Yeah.
Because we did a project called Project Ball and Chain, and it basically you map house, and then you go to that area and see what you find. and it's had us in some weird, some strange stuff's happened. But yeah, we start off with a pendulum. I mean, that's really simple. It's a really simple item. So there's, for some people, it's not viable because you could be moving it, and like subconsciously you might be. So, fair enough. So there's no real frustrations with those pendulums. Because I don't know how to use them, dowsing rods wind me up.
Right.
Because I just can't use them. I've seen people use them, and they do a good job with them as well. And stuff starts tying in, and it looks brilliant. I've got some dowsing rods. I just can't use them. They start flopping all over the place. I can't keep them still, and I've lost faith with them. But I don't know, have you used those before? The dowsing.
I have, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing again. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no problem.
So anyway, yeah. With regards to dowsing rods, I've used them before. I don't really use them very often. I don't have a pair myself. Excuse me. I don't have a pair myself, but I have used them when I've been out with the Paranormal Charity Warriors. They've got loads of them that they pull out for their guests. But yeah, I mean, you tend to find with them. I mean, my frustrations are with regards to dowsing rods, especially is I mean, some people obviously grip hold of them and they just hold on to them, and then they just don't work whatsoever.
Yeah.
And the biggest issue I find as well is that you put yourself in jeopardy of you just put yourself in jeopardy of involuntary movements in your hands. Then moving them themselves. So I mean, I always think to myself, if you've got a set that's inside a handle of some sort, whether you take the metal rod and put it inside an old Bic Biro whole casing or something, so it just moves on its own. You hold on to the casing, and the rod's going to move on its Todd. Then I think and some of those things that frustrate. That's what frustrates me about how some people do things with it, because they give you these dowsing rods, which is just a piece of wire that's bent, and
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Please excuse me. My fizzy drink's making me want to burp, and I'm trying not to let it out. Jack Davis has asked a quick question here as well. While on a paranormal investigation, what is your most convincing moment? Right, so I'll start with you with that one, John, and then we'll go into your most frustrating moment as well.
Yeah, it's one of the good ones. Menzies Castle in Scotland.
Yeah,
I heard we heard a woman singing, and there were 6 people, and we all heard it. That was amazing. Because usually you only get one person hearing it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe 1 or 2, and then it's a bit of a debate. Everybody heard this, and then it happened again, and it was like so. That's there. There's one at an old prisoner of war camp. What's local to me?
Yeah.
I mean, we were just walking. ITC came out with memory. I took one photo, and then memory shot up on my screen saying I'm out of memory. And it could be a very close coincidence. But at the same time, it was coming out with quite a bit of other information that were relevant. And I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to take that as something there, because it tied in perfectly. What frustrates me, I went on an event, and a couple of people came in and they had a drink. And I thought I caught a brilliant EVP. It was brilliant. And it weren't. It was one of them in other room. And they were close up to the wall, whispering through the wall.
Yeah.
And that I had to literally go outside, and I thought, you know what, there's no point being here. So I went outside, I just started taking pictures of building them, and basically just took pictures of it because I thought there's no point doing an investigation. A couple of them had a drink, and they were just doing things like that through the wall. So yeah, I got this EVP, and I thought this is amazing. And then I went into debunk mode.
Yeah.
So I went in corridor, and then about 20 minutes later, I saw him doing the same thing. And I thought, John, do you know what? That's terrible. Yeah.
Tara Coles, I'll come back to your question in a moment. I'm just gonna I suppose my best the best bit of paranormal ever convincing moment, I should say. There we go. While Jack's question was while on paranormal investigation, what was your most convincing moment? So I was at the village in Mansfield a couple of years back now, and we had we managed to catch at the end of the night. After we're looking back at the footage, we managed to catch the piano playing on film. So you can physically hear it playing. The frustrating part of it was very simple. The piano was fine, that was good bit. But what one of the groups who was there with us, they'd actually put one of those spring Ouija things on the pool table. But obviously they didn't realize the camera was running at the time. So they put it, and you could just see half of the spring Ouija.
Right,
but
yeah.
The frustrating thing about it is that before you hear the piano playing, the spring section on it goes backwards off screen and goes boing, like that.
Yeah.
Right? But what the most annoying thing about that was, because then some people walked in through the door, you see, afterwards. And you have a door here, you had a door this side, and then a door over here as well, where the pool table is and that. And of course, the frustrating thing was, it turns out that there was somebody who had come in from the other door and had done it specific, But when we asked them about it, they didn't own up to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we found out, we found out that there was a third person that had gone into that room. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's just the most frustrating thing when people do that sort of thing, knowing that somebody set something up, and there's or if they do know the cameras. I mean, they could blatantly see the camera was there.
Yeah.
I mean, most people using common sense would know it was running. So, but yeah, that's it. I think it's been people being inconsiderate on investigations is the biggest thing as well. Whether that's on events or whether that's exactly what you had, exactly that same problem. So Tara Coles has come up with a question. So do you ever just go by your own feelings, ever drawn to an area and places to you investigate?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I tend not to myself. Well, because I don't class myself in any way psychic whatsoever. So it's that's psychic as a lemon, I say. But I mean, I think that's where you've got to trust people, and that's very hard this day and age, unfortunately, is to put your trust and faith into people, no matter whether it's when you're out and about on investigation or whether you're
it's in most things, really, isn't it?
Just in your personal life, everything. It's very hard to trust anybody, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
It is very much so. It's not a nice feeling not being able to trust those people as well,
But with that though, there's been a few times where I've just been walking somewhere, or a building catches my eye, or something like that, and I'm just thinking I've got to check this place out. Something draws me to it. There's been a few where we've done that, but we haven't been able to record anything, which that's frustrating. Because you go in and it's amazing. No one's done an investigation there before. But if they've asked us not to record, then you don't. Fair enough. So you go in for your own experience. But yeah, we have done that a few times, and in some really, we went into one. It was an hotel, and they went, "Do you know what? Fair enough. Come in, do what you've got to do. As long as you don't disturb anyone." And we did. And I'll be honest with you, it was amazing. Feeling some like small results we were getting, and we were thinking if we spent a night here, it'd be great. But I'm afraid they won't be able to do it. So
yeah,
that's
so
that was frustrating actually.
yeah, very. I can imagine actually, very frustrating there. So, Caroline Llewellyn has asked the question: do you think a spirit could follow you home?
I think so. Yeah. It is like an attachment kind of thing, or even an effect. Yeah, I do think so. Yeah.
But you know what my biggest problem is with that is, see, now I try to be as skeptical as possible, right? So
yeah,
so I try and keep an open mind, I should say, about things. So I've got no problem with people with mediums, or with whether you're medium or you're a skeptic or whatever, right? My biggest problem is when people automatically jump. So if somebody says they're having things happen at their house and things like that, my biggest problem is one of a couple of things. One is when they post photographs, screenshots from their phone, or photographs from their phone, I should say, which are pixelated, and next thing you know, everybody's drawing circles all over it and saying they're seeing this, that, and the other in the pixelations. The next thing that frustrates me the most is that when somebody automatically jumps on it as being demonic.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big process, isn't there?
That's
it. People go through just to see if it really is a negative entity. So yeah, I get you. It does frustrate me that I think a lot use it in clickbait as well. That winds me up.
First thing, we're going to clickbait in a little bit, mate. But first things first, with regards to taking spirits part following you home. The thing is, I think it's down to your belief as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because people talk about Ouija, as I say it so many times. People talk about Ouija boards. Oh, we've lost John briefly. So everybody's aware. John's on Virgin Media, and anybody who's on Virgin Media, they have got Virgin went down today. So I'm hoping John is. I heard some audio then, so I'm hoping there he is. I think he's just making sure he's getting some better signal. We lost you for a second then, mate.
No, I'm blank again.
Yeah. So anyway, I was just saying about the fact that do you know what? I can't remember what I was saying then.
Yeah, belief system, weren't it? About following your own and Ouija boards and that,
yes, that's it. People talk about Ouija boards and things, and they say about opening up portals and things like that. I think, to be honest with you, if you're going to open up a portal to anything, it doesn't matter whether you're using a Ouija board, whether you're using table, whether you're using an EMF meter or what. It's all the same thing you're trying to do. You're attempting to communicate with spirit using the mouth. Again, like I said a minute ago, I don't know if your thoughts are the same on this. It's all down to your belief system as such. My belief system is that a Ouija board is no different to that. Is no different to that. It's no different to an EMF meter. But in terms of the fact that you're attempting to try and communicate.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I get you on that. That attempt to communicate, surely that's beginning a connection and things like that. There's only one thing that I do. I've read, and I kind of. I've kept it on board. The shape of the triangle has always been used to invite spirit. So the design at planchette when it's triangle.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Ouija boards, it uses that planchette, that like triangular kind of shape item. So there's some what do say when you use a glass or something else, it's not the same. Like going back to ancient Greeks, the triangle is like it's the invitation. It's to say, "Come on, you're welcome." Kind of thing. Yeah. So that's only difference I've read about like Ouija boards and things that use planchettes and any other device. But if you ask me, yeah, like you said,
answer me this question there, though, John.
When you're calling out, you're asking for something, aren't you?
Playing a little, excuse the pun, playing devil's advocate on that one.
All right.
Answer me this question then. So why is it then that some planchettes, most planchettes are usually like triangular in shape of some sorts, whether they're triangular or heart shape or what? Why is it though that some of them have a circle in the middle, okay, which is designed to be very much like a glass is, so that's where it goes over the letter or the number. So what's the difference then? So surely if a spirit, so if you're trying to communicate with a spirit with a Ouija board, you know, you're using a planchette. Planchette should all do the same thing. So if you're using a planchette, surely the pointer should point to the letter or the number or the yes or no or the goodbye or hello. Yet there's a circle in the middle that is meant to be what goes over and shows the letter.
Yeah. I know what you mean with this one.
So how is it that a spirit is then going to know? Do you know what I mean? Which is which?
Yeah. It's a weird one, but the only way I can probably look at that is the old occult symbols, you know, and rituals used for summoning do use circles in triangles. So I don't know. Maybe those were designed for information to be kept inside that circle, so it went over number or letter. I'm not too sure, or it might be just difference in design item, really. But yeah, I know what you mean on that. It's, but like you said, I think any way that you start asking out for something, it's going to start making a connection.
Yeah.
And I can't see how one could be more dangerous than another, really. I think they could all equally end up in the same place.
Yeah. I mean, I'll come back to another bit in a minute I want to bring up as well. So Gary Davis has asked the question, what do you think about new batteries on equipment draining in the paranormal evidence?
Do you know what? There's been, we went, I was with Leslie, and we went to a barracks, and out of 3 people, batteries were just draining. It weren't too cold, it weren't overly hot, it was just a normal temperature room. And I'll be honest, they weren't even inside the device at the time, because I'm like that. I keep them out and then I put them in, you know, when I start using them. And there were 3 people, and his batteries were draining. I mean, when you're outside and it's cold at night, that can have an effect on it. Fair enough, but we're inside a pretty decent temperature in room. No, don't know.
I think the thing is that with I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm probably going to end up doing this a lot. I get so, you know, and I get a bit riled up with regards to the paranormal, but some people don't store batteries in the right way, in a good way as well, do they? And that's one of the biggest problems. And you know, when they go from hot to cold like that constantly, you know.
Yeah, they don't like it. No,
that's, you know, the battery's not going to like it, is it?
No. But that's why I found that one funny, because there were 3 people. There were no temperature issue, and they just drained. But I mean, we've done it at night, and you've got your video camera, your battery's charged. It's freezing, but you're still doing your investigation, and it just seems to run out within, you know, 20 minutes or whatever. And you know, and yeah, I just put that down to temperature. Yeah, definitely.
No worries. So Susan Barton then says, "Hi Dan, do you take a psychic with you when you go on a ghost hunt? Do you have a regular team or who you work with?" I'll leave that one with you to start with, though, and then I'll go into that one. Do you have a psychic that goes with you?
Not as such, no. We know a couple that, you know, we go on investigations with at times. So that's always good. I do pick up enough stuff myself. It doesn't seem to be like at will. It just seems to happen every now and again. So you know, it's I don't. That's why I don't say I'm a medium or anything, because it's just every now and again I'll pick something up, it ties in, or we find out it weighs up with information at place. I like that. That's pretty good. But we often go out. We do work with different teams. There's Team Spirit Paranormal, Team Equinox, Paranormal, and then Project Paranormal and Paranormal Haunting. So, that it's great working with other people and teams, if you ask me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know, because mainly it's you and Phil, isn't it, Redwood X, and but you work with Leslie a lot, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
For me, I'm pretty much on my own. You probably, most people see me out, if anything, with Trisha or my friend Leanne, or I'll probably be on my hard work. If I've been invited by an events group to go out with them, or I might be out with other teams, people like Twisted Paranormal, things like people like that. I don't necessarily deal with go with psychic mediums anymore. But and I don't have a team myself. I'm just on my own. I did have a team. I had psychic mediums in them. It was just very hard to keep the team going because we were all so far apart from each other and things like that. And obviously having a psychic mediums as well, I think you do have to. I think you do have to have a lot of trust in them, in who you're out with, So I've got Trisha messaging me at the moment. Unfortunately, she's not able to get on.
I've met Trisha in the past as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she's not able to come on tonight.
Yeah.
So, just going to jump back into the chat, say hello to a few people. Hi, Libby Connolly. Noreen Hill meant to say hi to you earlier on.
Hi, Noreen.
Where are we? Claire Beale as well. Claire Moyle. Mandy Bell. Hi. So, where are we? Let's get on to the next one. Mandy Bell asks, where's the most dangerous location you have been to?
Well, for me, it's Het de Loos in Haarlem, 20 minutes away from Amsterdam. It was a leprosy like centre for treatment of leprosy, and then it was an asylum, and then it was now it's a museum, an amazing museum. I went round, but I was by myself pretty much. There were no other guests, so I did a few. I did a few things. I sat down, see if I could connect with anything, and then I came home. I came away from it. Thought, yeah, that was amazing. I got home, and then a few months later, I was getting strange things happening, like dreams. Again, quite stressed, and then a year later, something happened, and I thought, what were I doing? And it came up on, like my timer, what you were doing a year from this date. And I'd visited that place, and as soon as I thought, I wonder if me doing what I did there is affecting me now. As soon as I had that thought, it all stopped. It all drained away. So for me, Het de Loos in Haarlem that's worse. That's like most negative place I've come across, kind of thing.
Now, if you're looking at that from a different point of view, the most dangerous place, I mean, in terms of the most if you're talking about what somewhere you could get hurt if you went to.
Right, yeah.
Sorry. If you're looking at that another point of view as well. But I mean, a lot of us go to abandoned buildings, and pretty much everywhere we go, we take a risk with, no matter what. You go to, well, anywhere you go, especially in the dark, old buildings or whether they're abandoned or whether or not. And I think the most frustrating thing with regards to premises tends to be where people go, they do damage to it, or they take, like Charlene and I were talking about it last week. Cardinal Castle and Farmhouse. And, somebody's gone in there and they've broken into the place and taken the boards off and things. And that to me is just the most frustrating thing. If you can get into the play, if you can get in without having to open a fence or climb a fence or kick it or open a door or anything like that, then all right, okay. Because if the police come along and they tell you and they ask you to leave, that's fair enough. If you go into a place and you're removing panels and things like that, it's just not right. I mean, but most places you go to aren't safe in any way. I mean, one of them, for example, was back in January when I was in Lanzarote, and I did the old abandoned hotel there. You know, it wasn't necessarily haunted as such. We got a couple of bits and pieces in one of the rooms, but the place itself was just a mess. So extremely dangerous place. You know, if you went out, fortunately, I mean, it was daytime. Obviously, I went in there, but it was still dangerous enough at daytime, let alone what it would be like at night. So
I mean, I know what you mean with that. I mean, but yeah, abandoned building wise and dangerous. A long time ago, it was a legitimate visit to Furbeck Hall, and literally first floor on this corridor didn't exist, and that were. But you've still got to go down it, and we did, but that were dangerous. So yeah.
Just got another question. We got our first watcher on Periscope as well, which is my dad.
All right, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So hopefully that'll pick up a little bit over the next few days. Jack Davis is asking, when played with a spirit board, I saw a man. When played with a spirit board, I saw a man inside the glass on the board. Have you experienced anything like that, or is it my eyes playing tricks on me?
I mean, it could be possible, that, if you ask me, but no, I've not experienced that. That's a good one. That one.
I've never experienced that, but I don't use Ouija boards myself, so it's not something that I do, not something I use.
I have done, but I don't much now.
So I can't really sort of answer that one, I think.
But outside of devices, I share that one of my biggest frustrations is damaging of these locations.
Yes.
Because that just ruins it for absolutely everybody. So, yeah, that really is. It angers me.
Yeah, that is wrong. Yeah, I mean, but the other thing, I mean, talking about equipment and things, is when people aren't actually, you spend a lot of money on this equipment and things, and you tend to find that other people who are with you, or part of the reason why I'm on my own now is because people didn't take care of equipment. So if they put it down, if you had it down on the floor, they'd be walking around, they just end up kicking it because they don't take notice of what's what. And that's such a frustrating thing.
Yeah, because some of them are delicate pieces of equipment as well. Yeah,
that's it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Claire Moyle says spirit needs energy from anywhere. Batteries are great for them to use. Again, it's just but the thing is, what a lot of people are automatically too quick to do is jump on the assumption that it's paranormal, when it could just be air pressure, it could be temperature, anything like that, or even just a place where the battery is stored. That could be causing it.
Yeah.
Claire Beals on. Hi, Claire, from One Entity. We had 2 phones and 2 torches go off completely at the school. Seconds before, there were 3 huge bangs that made 3 of the team members run to check it to see if people would come in. I think the energy affects devices.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got all that tying up at the same time, you've got to look at that and think, is something going off here? Because chances of them all going off, at the same time, it is. They won't all just drain at the same time like that. So, that's when I would stop and think, right, is there something here? What's going off? That kind of thing. That is, it's definitely an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the thing, you see, is, I mean, with that is, I would be looking at different things again. I'd be looking at temperature. I'd be looking at, with the torches, especially, especially. I'll be checking things, the batteries, etc., on them before even contemplating that they were paranormal. But so I'd be looking at all those things. I mean, it's hard to, it's hard when especially when you lose, when 2 phones go, 2 torches go, and then you get. She said seconds before there were 3 huge bangs, and it made 3 team members run to check to see if people had come in. It's one of those things, yeah. It is hard to work out whether it is something paranormal or not. Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to be there, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And I think that
hospital with Trisha, we did Mount Hospital, and in the doorway, as you walk through the main door, straight ahead of you was the stairwell, and we were all stood down in the foyer area, and all of a sudden, all you heard was this massive, humongous bang come from the stairwell. Nobody knows what on earth it was, and there was nobody else in the building. Security were outside; they were tucked away, watching what's going on around the site, and we were. All of us were accounted for in the foyer, but a huge bang, so none of us knew what that was.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I mean, and when it comes to debunking things, we've spent a lot of time. We've experienced something, and then spend a lot of time trying to recreate it, or that kind of thing.
That's it.
And sometimes, though, there's been an odd occasion where you just think, "No, can't see how that possibly happened." And that's what I like. If you try really hard to debunk it and you can't, then it's even better, if you ask me. Yeah, because yourself, you've tried at the time. So yeah, definitely.
Exactly. Now, obviously, reiterating just the fact that if anybody does want to come on and have a chat with us, it's all directly on screen. If you click the link in the bottom of the chat that's pinned to the bottom, if you are on iPhone or iPad, you need to use Safari to get into. If you're on an Android phone or tablet, you should be able to get in using your normal browser. Gary Davis asked the question: have any of you both been touched by spirit?
I think I have. Where were I? I'm trying to think where I were.
Just very quickly, mate. Sorry, we'll just say Trisha's just dropped into chat on YouTube. Hi, Trisha. So we're so sorry. Yeah, sorry, buddy.
Yeah, we're at Tudor Experience Museum.
Full Staffs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And I were upstairs. I was sat down. I stood up, and I felt like someone grabbed my shirt. Now, straight away, I turned around to have a look to see if there were anything it could have tugged on, or there weren't. But as I turned around, my first reaction were, who pulled my shirt? That kind of turn right, thinking someone would be behind me, and they weren't. And then I just thought, right, what could that have caught on? And my shirt weren't baggy enough. There were no corners. It just felt like someone had pulled my shirt at the back. There's been a few others, but that one really stood out.
I mean, but you see people, they talk about the fact that they've been scratched and anything like that, or they've been touched. And all it takes is that, like for me, and I do this a lot, you see. I do this a lot, you see, sometimes. And it's just, like if I've been an arm on here, obviously I do that a lot, or bits and pieces like that, and sometimes you can involuntarily scratch yourself and you don't feel it to start with, but then after a period of time it starts to burn, and then all of a sudden you think you've been scratched by someone, something, or some sort of spirit or whatever. And you see people, they cut they've scratched on their face, or they or their neck or their back or anything like that, and it's just they haven't realized that they've necessarily scratched themselves and something. They might have just done this and reached around and just rubbed the back or something, but caught themselves with a nail. And I think some people are too quick to jump on that.
Yeah. I'd have to go, try and think back. I mean, you do it, you go on investigations, you catch yourself on plants, and there's a lot of things. A lot of things can lead to that. But yeah, I do know a few people what don't, they don't mess about, and they've claimed to have had injuries, during investigations. Well, actually, one during a séance on back of her hand. I found that interesting because these people aren't they don't, in my, for what I know, they don't usually like make things up or anything like
that. Libby Connolly says, have you been visited by people you know? If so, what did they pass on to you? I haven't personally, be honest with you. While you're having a bit of a think, I'll just
we're thinking. Yeah, searching in memory bank there.
That's it.
No, I'm gonna say no to that one. Yeah.
Where are we?
I've been visited by stuff, but not anyone I know. So I won't know.
Yeah. Hi, Lane Farrell. Cherry Willman. Hi, how are you? Another day in lockdown yet? Von, yeah, it's not very much fun at the moment, is it? Von Hunter, how are you? Rosalind Golkey, evening to you too. Thank you to all my mods as well for saying hello to everybody for me while we have a chinwag. Gary Davis, do you investigate in the day or the night or in the same place, and do you get different experiences?
Yeah, right, I mean, we do.
Before you go out, John, I'm going to say, if anybody hears my cat's in, the one people have seen my one cat over the last few days. The other one's in at the moment, and he's making a lot of noise. So I do apologise if he comes in here and starts meowing. He's a loud little bug. So, do you investigate in the day and the same place, and do you get different experiences?
Yeah. I mean, in day you get to see a lot more place that you go into. We've had results in day as well. And caught images are like figure. It looks like a figure in shadowy areas during day. You get to see more detail in day as well. So, I'll be honest with you, I like day and night, me. Yeah.
Right. I was saying the other day about how big this one is. Look at the size of him.
Look at that.
He's a lump. This is what you call half Persian.
Flipping out, yeah. It's a big cat, that one.
And he's got his GPS on his collar. Look.
That's it.
So I can know where he is because he went missing for 5 weeks. Didn't you?
5 weeks.
Yeah. He disappeared for 5 weeks because the neighbour's cat didn't like him.
Oh, right.
But then, sadly, the neighbour's cat got run over out the front and died. And 3 days later, he come home.
Right, yeah.
So, sorry, John, you were saying?
Day and night. Yeah, I like to do both if I can, because we've caught things in shadowy areas of the place in day, and you get to see more detail. Things that you might walk past at night time, like little pathways in woods. Just random little things like that. You get a bit of good appreciation of something in there because you can see more detail. So I like both. Me, yeah, definitely.
People are saying about but how Claire Beer saying it's heartbreaking about places getting broken into. Von Hunter as well saying it's disgusting the way property is abused and smashed up. There's no respect for anyone or anything. Cherry Woman saying congrats Dan, no hat. It is here. It is here. Look, it's here still. So Cherry also says the board to her is perfectly fine. Claire Moyle says, I know this. Very possible, yes, although faces can be suggestive. But yes, I've seen many things in that glass bit.
All right, that's pretty good.
See, the thing is like with the old style Ouija boards, I think they used to have a magnet. That center circle used to have a magnifying glass in it.
Yeah.
So that it would magnify the letter or number that was underneath it. So Trisha's also saying that I've had quite a bit of equipment broken, but I also broke Twisted Paranormal's 360 Periscope accidentally, as she didn't see it in the doorway. The thing is that, I mean, there's some people, I mean, you know, Trisha's very careful when she's out and about, and, you know, but there are some people who just walk through, they just don't take any notice, they just don't care, they just, you know, and all of a sudden they boot something, and it's just, that's the most frustrating thing for me, I think, when you're out with other people, you know, even if they've seen you put it down on the floor, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, there were a time when I fully were out investigating with Charlene and Paranormal Hauntings, and he had the a plasma ball. He had a plasma ball in his hand. It was raining, and it slipped and smashed. Oh. You know, accidents happen. But so you know, things like that do occur. But usually, we're pretty careful. Things what are on floor, they do tend to get some abuse because nighttime, you know, people just walk. You know, they can cop for it, really, can't they? But so you do witness people just smashing things about, and you think, you know, come on, expensive stuff.
I mean, even down to smoking, really. I mean, people smoke, fair enough, right? But take your fag butts home with you. Do you know what I mean? It's no need to lit the place to a degree, is there? You know, same bottles and things like that. Just take it home with you. You know, it's. I mean, it's bad enough you go into some of these places. I mean, Trisha and I went into Columbia Hospital, not on back, and you know, we went in there, and it's like she said to me, "Be wary because it's known to be needles on the floor." You know. So you just got to be very wary wherever you go.
That's a danger, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Mark Coltius. Where are we? Donna. Donna says, Dan, I see orbs also. I've had spirit touching me. That's when I know that they are with me. So they have been calling me last night when I was asleep. I could hear them talking.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's a few things happening there, isn't there?
I think, again, it's a belief system again, really, there, isn't it? Because I'm not a fan of orbs whatsoever. Anybody who ever sees me talk about anything to do with orbs, 9 times out of 10, you see me telling you straight that it's nothing paranormal whatsoever. You know, yes, okay. People say balls of energy, orbs, as people call them. That's a form, you know, the spirit potentially forming, which is fair enough. But I think when it comes to orbs, too many people jump on things and automatically see that as paranormal, but you know, they don't take into account that they're in a building, no matter they're even in their front room recording something, and then see something floating around, and they instantly think, you know, and you're like, have you just walked in the room, or have you just sat down? You know, things like that. You just sat down instantly. Poof, no matter how clean your house is, you're going to get a bit of dust fly up in the air. You know, and
I mean, we orbs, I like them. I'd like to see them link into something else.
Yeah.
So if I see an orb, it's acting funny, and then something gets knocked off at the table, that kind of thing. You know, if they add up, but by themselves, I know what you mean.
But you see, the thing is because you can say 99% of what you see on the camera screen floating around is potentially dust or lint or whatever. It's very hard to turn around and say that any of it is actually paranormal. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
what most people don't realize is that if you actually look at your digital camera, for example, almost every digital camera in the instruction manual, it says that the digital camera will pick up on part and show particles floating that are floating around in the air. It's just how the sensor is, and I mean, people like Mark Colchis would know this because I mean he builds things. The sensor in it will pick up a lot more. The sensor picks up a lot more light, so it's going to reflect, show the light reflections, and moisture in the air as well.
Yeah. But she's hearing her name and ears talking as well. And that's quite interesting.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that is a little bit different thing. I mean, I'm not psychic in any way, as I say. So for me, it's very hard to sort of comment on that side of things, really.
Just before my battery goes on this, I'm using my laptop, you see. There were one thing that it frustrates me, but it doesn't. But it depends. And we just touched on it a bit earlier. Clickbait. I'm talking when it's just well and truly not called for. I mean, these tunnels where things have happened, or certain legends are connected, and I get that. You're telling a story in a title. That I like it, but sometimes when it's like 100% proof, and then it's a maybe or it could be, that winds me up a bit because it's not that I fall for it. It's just that you want to check it out because you want to see it, and then it just ends up being a maybe or a could be, and that is, I do find that frustrating.
Yeah. Sorry, my cat's back in. I had to watch it. I put my hand down to give him a bit of a pet, and he does have a bit. He has a habit of biting.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's not very nice. When he bites, he bites. He takes chunks. So, hi, Stephen Harris. How are you? Mark Colchis says he prefers investigating at night time. Depending on where you are, I think, because I always say at night time, you people ask why we investigate at night time. Well, there's a few different ways people talk about things like, the witching hour, things like that. I mean, the other side of it is, people talk, the theory is that spirit goes between the infrared and ultraviolet spectrum. You can only see the infrared spectrum at night time. So you obviously use an infrared light and a camera that obviously is able to pick up the infrared. So in the daytime, you can't investigate in that respect, and with like that, we're using that equipment. So, it is a lot harder in the day. But depending on where you go, and if I go to Drakelow, I always prefer Drakelow tunnels in the daytime, personally. But then it's pitch black in there anyway.
Yeah, so, yeah.
You walk outside and you go from being freezing cold inside to being stupid hot outside. In comparison. So, but we've got Claire Beale sitting in the studio at the moment in the background, so we bring Claire on in a sec. Trisha says, one place I have done day and night is Shepton Mallet Prison, and B Wing during day is more eerie than night.
I'd like to do it. Yeah.
I think the prisons in the daytime, prison is the place where the daytime it's all the hustle and bustle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas at night time it's a bit different. Night time they are locked away, and
Obviously, yeah.
So in some ways, a prison would be ideal place to try and do during the day. Because you potentially would get more energies in the area than at that point. Excuse me. Flick down here quickly. Trisha as well. I smashed a plasma jumping out onto a roof, chasing kids off. So Trisha knew the security staff, and she knew the owner of Mount Hospital, which meant that she could get in there and she could take people in. So hence why she was able to, she's saying there about she jumped out onto a roof. Mandy Bell, personally, I don't think people should smoke inside of buildings. If it's outside, that's fine, understandable. Yeah, fire hazard straight off. Plus, on top of that, that's the other thing. Smoking, the smoke itself. You see a lot of people, they put up evidence and they say about they see a mist going past. And it's like, well, first things first, is it cold out there? And, you know, you might not be seeing that mist that people are breathing, you know, they're breathing out. You might not see it, but the camera picks it up. Do you know what I mean? So
I get it.
all those things as well, checking temperatures and things. I mean, well, I think we're all culprits of not doing baseline tests in a lot of ways. Do you know what I mean? So,
we try to, but yeah, like you said, sometimes it slips and you don't do it. And you regret that anyway. So, yeah.
Sorry, my cats are now fighting. they don't really like each other much. So Trisha also says daily traffic slows down, so we become more aware of our surroundings. That's part of the reason why we, you know, at night time as well. So
fair enough. That
I've got this little bugger sitting down. This little bugger down here now. Look, come say hello to everybody again. So that's the other one. So she's the older of the two. You can see the size difference between them. So, but they're squabbling. So yes, Trisha says obviously as well. Yes, very guilty of skipping baseline tests. Everybody is, I think. You know. Right. Claire Moyle, did your cat murder next door's cat? Joke. No. I actually got the death of my next door's cat on camera outside. I looked at the cam. I didn't see it specifically, but you saw the van jam his brakes on. About 6 a.m. in the morning it was. So, John's gone off. So I'm gonna because John's gone, I'm gonna bring Claire on. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Hello. I'm all right, thank you.
Look.
I know. I was gonna say. John's just messaged me just to say his internet's dropped because there's a lot of people on Virgin Media today. The Virgin Media has gone down, so a lot of people are on that, and John's one of them.
Yeah.
And I know my Sky internet's been playing up a little bit as well. So, but Trisha saying about my other cat being a fatty. He is, trust me.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Oh, he's lovely. He's just he has a habit of biting. That's the only thing. So he was worse when he was younger. When he was younger, he used to just wee on everything and just bite everything. So
nice.
He would attack you. He would literally attack your foot if it was hanging off the sofa or something. And he doesn't play bite. He bites hard. So
dear God.
Yeah, he does it now. He gets a bit rough, and whereas the other one, she likes to play, and you know that's her stimulation. You know, whereas obviously with him, he plays a little bit, and then but he's very quick to then go, oh well, I've had enough now, and then he sinks his teeth in. So hello, Irene. So Claire. So
yes.
Well, because
I've been listening in. I've been listening in. What it is, there's a few little things just through personal experience. I've been having a giggle because Mr. Skeptismo sat there, Dan Litchfield. No, I totally get it. You know, when we go on a ghost hunt, I have to say, we try and debunk, I'll say the word debunk, quite a lot of things because we want to be rational. We want to keep our feet on the ground. You know, we don't say, oh, that was a bang. That was a bang. What was it? It could have been anything, you know, absolutely anything. But when we was in the school, it was one of them moments where, like John said a moment ago, you had to be there to actually witness what happened. We're all in one area, okay? Now, behind the men, there was 3 men in a line. They were probably about 2 foot away from the wall, so nobody was touching anything. We'd got a doll on a chair, trying to sort of entice a little bit, you know, children, which we all could feel that there was children there. Now, behind them on this wall, there was 3, and when I say huge, I mean the bangs were that loud that we all jumped, okay? And it was directly on the wall that was behind the 3 men that was there. Now, the 3 men actually, they jumped and they ran to go towards the only entrance into the school. There was no other way in. Everything was cordoned off, locked off, everything. They ran in this direction. As they ran, my phone went down, live gone. There was Ben's phone, completely drained. Now, it was on, I think it was 70-something% just before. So he's holding his phone.
Yeah.
It drained completely. Gone. As they went to run, both of the torches went out black. So you can imagine there's 2 women and another lad standing on their own in the dark. The blokes ran. They was in the dark. You know, I always check the batteries before we go anywhere. I'm a bit of a bugger for it. So it costs me a fortune in Duracell batteries. I make sure that they are brand spanking new. I make sure that all of our equipment is charged completely, like 100%, before we start any investigation. When they came back, Ben's phone came back on, which we'd all tried it. It wasn't like he'd just hit a button and it had gone off.
Yeah.
It was gone. You know what I mean? It was one of those situations where even now we talk about it, and Ben's our skeptic of the group. He's the one that says, "Oh no, something could have fell. Could have been a rat. You know, it could have been anything." That night, he could not explain what happened.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to put it out there that, you know, I think, you know, like yourself, you go out in groups and you go out on your own. But when you're in the midst of that situation where you cannot explain what happened, it's exciting. You know, your adrenaline's going crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
You're trying to debunk it. You're trying to look at everything, thinking, well, how, you know, did I pick up the wrong batteries? Did I do this? Did I do that? But no, that was a night, and it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. You know, I mean, it is one of, you know, there's a lot of things, you know, where you can go out and you know, you just can't explain them whatsoever at the time. Do you know what I'm saying? The problem is when you get people who don't try to explain what's going on, or don't try to look at the reasons why. You know, at least if somebody is looking at other possibilities, you can see then that they are potentially trying to debunk, as we call it. You know, where so many people, they look, you know, they just instantly, it's in, you know, a cat ball flashes, oh, it's paranormal, there's a spirit here, or, you know, or they're sitting on the they're sitting down with the Ouija board, and, you know, and it's moving around, and it's like, well, you know, it's just hard to tell. Do you know what I mean? Because especially if you're not on that board, I suppose you can't. It's hard to tell if anything's actually. Sorry, I got my one cat. She's sitting here at the moment trying to do that. She's either doing the daddy's being nasty to me, you know.
No, I totally get what you're saying, Dan. I mean, it's like with, you know, I'm a bit like you when it comes to orbs as well, right? So I will look at an orb and people go, oh, I've just seen an orb, I've just seen an orb, just seen an orb. I always look at it and think, well, actually, I'm going to be honest with you. If it doesn't respond to what I'm saying, if it doesn't go up, right, left, down, and actually communicate with me, you know, I genuinely think it is dust, right? You're going to get dust everywhere you go. But I think doing it for as long as we've been doing it.
Me.
Hey?
So, look at her grooming me a second ago, my beard.
Oh,
sorry.
That's hilarious, that is. You don't need a beard comb, do you?
No, I don't. She just quite happily groomed me. So, sorry.
No, it's fine. But I think when you've been doing it for such a long time, you do tend to know the difference, you know, between an orb and dust. The way that it goes, the size of it, the shape of it, and stuff like this. Now, I think I mentioned this on one of the other lives that we was on. We went to a barn. We found these old derelict barns in the middle of nowhere. Fantastic they were. So we go into this one, and you've got to watch it if you get 5 minutes. It's on our page, on the One Entity page. Now, this orb came in. It changed colour. It changed shape. I asked it to come forward. It did. I asked it to go back. It did. It then spiraled into this shape I have never seen before. And honestly, you've got to watch it, please. Watch it for yourself.
I'll watch, definitely.
When we were there, we were so mesmerised and blown away by what had happened that even now we're still talking about it. You know, it's one of those situations where, to me, that was an orb. You know, that was what I would say is an orb. It was out of this world. It was so beautiful. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. See, I don't tend to put them. You know, some people call them orbs and things like that. I mean, I look upon it as I hate the term orb, though. That's the thing. You know, if I put something out on, so say I've caught something on a live stream and I've watched back and I've caught something and I can't really explain it, or, you know, if you see it coming right up by the screen, I'm kind of like, you know, to me, it's dust, do you know what I mean? Whatever. But if it's a bit further away and it's harder for the light to reflect off of it, especially IR light and that, to me, it's a light anomaly, you know, rather than an orb as such. So I would put it down as a light anomaly. And then I always put a question mark next to it, because then I'm sort of saying, you know, you decide whether that's what it is or not. You know, because I think the problem is there's too many people that automatically jump on the fact it's orbs.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. When I first started investing, you know, ghost hunting, I was, again, like a lot of people are. You know, you sit there with your picture, you're like, oh my god, look at that orb on the screen, and then you sit there, you blow it up, and you see things in it. I mean, I had one day, and I literally, this is going back years now, and what I'd done was blown it right up. I'd then taken out the reds and the blues in it, I think it was, or something. Well, two of the color palettes, and what I was left with resembled, just taking the colors out of it, the shape that formed in it formed what looks like the perfect form of a baby's head. But what made it weird was it wasn't even I wasn't even on a ghost hunt. This photo was taken. This was at a private party, you know, family party at a family member, well, ex-family members, Nan's house, step Nan's house. And what had happened was we'd taken some photos, and this whatever it was, anomaly, was actually on. It was over the belly of her stepnan.
Okay.
And when I zoomed in on it and took the couple of colors out of it, or reduced those colors, it was a perfect shape of a baby. Now, she had lost a baby when she was younger. So had that got any sort of relevance? Who knows? It's not easy to sort of tell, you know, but it's so excuse me a second, I'm just gonna, sorry, sounded like I got a motorbike coming past, but they've stopped. Because right outside my window, literally the other side of my computer is obviously is the window to my room, and right outside of there is a road, and you get someone. I've had a couple of times where a chicken chase has gone tanking it past, and it's just really loud. But nice. Yeah, but yeah, I think then the thing is that, I mean, it's the same. Jack Davis has just put up a question, actually, which is relevant here as well. Do you believe in demons? Because exactly what I was about to say then was, too many people are too quick to jump on the demon fact, and too many people are quick to jump on orbs as saying they're paranormal, whether they're spirit or not. And, you know, I mean, rather than actually sitting there and saying, actually, if you're going to look at it with an investigative mind, it's not until you can prove it is. Do you know what I mean? But instantly people go, it is, you prove it's not. And that, I think, where they're looking at it, a lot of people, too many people look at it from a backwards point of view, you know, because...
well, I've got a few of my own little theories when people say demons. I mean, it's difficult because one of our team members is a Satanist.
Yeah.
And his name's Benny, and he's got long green hair. He's cool as anything. Honestly, he's brilliant. You'll see him on the page. He's such a lovely lad. But he's Satanist, you know. And when I say Satanist, people have really criticised him at times and said, what do you mean you're a Satanist? It's because he doesn't believe in one thing. He has his own theories on things, and that's how he wants to be, you know. And I admire him for the fact that he's got his own beliefs. It's great. Now, when it comes to demons, you know, as a medium myself, I honestly, personally, now this, please don't judge me on this, but I just believe that there's good in evil. You know, there's good and evil, in everything. You know, there's good and evil when you're alive. There's good and evil when the energies pass over, right? And I still believe that if you do bump into what people would say is a demon, I believe that what they're doing is they're just picking up on that really nasty energy of the person, exactly the same as if they were in the living. Exactly the same. That's my personal opinion. You know,
but my
obviously
question
I know
there would be is what fuels that negative entity. what fuels it. It's got to be fueled in a way, because every spirit, you know, is going to have to be there. The energy that is coming up that we call the spirit is going to have to be fueled in some manner. To be able to make it manifest, or to be able to make it so that the spirit touches a device or anything like that, isn't it? So if it's something that's going to be negative in many ways, what fuels that negative, what fuels that energy to cause it to manifest or causes it? You know, I personally believe that when people saw somebody in the chat earlier on mentioned about noise, you know, a noisy spirit. What fuels? I personally believe that a poltergeist is not the spirit. The spirit is actually the spirit. Is the spirit? It's there, and what fuels it is the negative energy that potentially the people who are, you know, have it around it. That it's being fueled by that negative, that fear of theirs. So technically, you could say that the person is the poltergeist. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you're saying. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I believe that if there is a lot of negative energy within a home, you know, so say you're all going through a really bad time, or there's you know, there's a couple that's splitting up and they're constantly arguing, and the children are picking up on negative as well. Within that house, you are going to get that negative energy, and the power within that energy is going to affect the spirit world, or whatever you want to call it, you know. And I do believe that they will pick up on that. But I also believe that if they were such an evil person before they passed on, or I don't know, I've got my own theories on it, so it's how to word it. I just believe that they have got more energy. I believe that their anger creates more energy, and I believe that they take more energy from you. It's like I've had days at home when, I mean, I've got a happy home, I'm very lucky, but I've had days at home where I've felt completely drained, and then I've had paranormal experiences in my home because I know who's here. And it's been a negative day. I felt negative. I felt down. I felt tearful. And I just believe that they've got the ability to take that from you, which again makes you feel down.
Yeah, but then that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm trying to say, I'm saying really, which is that your your fear or your negative energy that you have at that point is actually what fuels the spirit activity. I use the no disrespect, and God bless him, John Humphreys from the Ram Inn. John passed away I think it's a couple of years ago now. It's that long, I think. But a lot of people say that since John passed, or since John was taken out of the Ram Inn, because he was put into a home to start with, since then the activity's not been as much. Beforehand, obviously, there was a lot more that people reported and everything. Of course, John always reported activity, but I believe I personally believe it was John's eccentricness, and I believe it was his energy that caused those energies and those things to happen in the building. I believe there was energies in the building to start with, because it sits on ley lines, and its age as well. And you know, just for that, and all the bits and pieces that he was bringing into the place, because he did bring a lot of things into the place as well, and the fact there was a child's grave there, so there's always going to be something going on in there, no matter what. But in terms of, I mean, John used to claim that he was visited by an incubus every single night, you know, and so if that was happening, why was that happening? You know, and I believe it's John's eccentricness and anything, you know, that it was all links within that side of things. And of course he was God bless him, he was you know, he was I'm not sure if I believe he had dementia in the end, but you know, when he was getting into that stage later, you know, later in his life, it was those energies that was causing that, and obviously his fears and his emotions and everything like that, because of it, fueling a lot of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, you know, when he was younger as well, when they first moved in there, it was the fears and everything that was coming from his family, and that's why his family had to move out. But John stayed there, and he felt he needed to stay there. So he became part of that building. His energies became part of it, and were linked with it all. And, you know, I've not been since he passed away, but a lot of people do say that it's not as active as it was. So I sort of think to myself that it's those energies and that fueled it, the activity that went on there at the time, you know. So it's hard to obviously. It's the same as everything, though. It's all theory. Do you know what I mean? It is the same with everything. It's the same with every bit of equipment you use. It's theory based, isn't it? I mean, you know, but it's so for me, it's just a case of, is it possible that those energies are what fuels it, or is it just the fact that the energies are already there, or what is it? I mean, so
yeah, I think it could be a mixture of both. To be honest, I really do.
But that's when you go, say, for example, you go to Salisbury to the Arms Museum, the Armory Museum there. If you go to that place, what they claim is that the main activity spoken about is they see a lady walk down the stairs. Now, that is not very regular. It's residual from what we believe. So it's more like a videotape of her coming down the stairs. It's really like a recording of her coming down the stairs. But when you go into the main rooms where the artifacts are and that, it's when you go into the main rooms where the artifacts and the actual cabinets are, the cabinets have got alarms in them, they've got lights in them, and they just give off no end of EMF. And it is literally you're stood with 4 walls of electromagnetic field in every single room in the place. And so it's like no wonder there's activity going on, you know. So it's
no, I must admit that's one thing we try and do. Like when we go into a place, you know, we go around first, double check everything, you know, just to make sure that, you know, we're not standing next to something that is already on. You know, is there something going down the wall that's still on? Even in derelict buildings. I know it sounds daft, but you don't know. You just don't know. We like to check everything before we even continue. Yeah. You know, and I think that needs to be done.
Blessing. Claire, we've come to pretty much the end of it for tonight.
Okie doke.
It's kind of not, you know, we tend to overrun on the nights when we do readings, and you know, when we do nights like this, tend to try and go to about 9:30, but we're at 22:10 nearly. So Trisha's just confirmed it was 2 years ago. Yeah. So so I want to thank you for coming on and jumping in for me for, you know, with John's battery died and his internet died. I want to say a big thank you to John for coming on as well. I'm just going to add a little banner at the bottom very quickly. Just a reminder to everybody, please, if you want to help us out for a good cause, pop over to spookclothing.com and look at the Harley's Angels collection. There, any of the items there, all the profits go to the GoFundMe for Harley's Angels, and that is all the money. Well, most of the money then will go to the bereavement centre at Old Day High Hospital. And some of it will go to having a professional remembrance garden put in place for little Harley. Unfortunately, Harley was the victim of misdiagnosis with regards to a condition. So, and sadly, he passed away from that. So, obviously, to help his family out and to help him, and to help, not to help his family out, I should say, but we're doing it in aid of his family and for little Harley. And he was only 3 when he passed away. So please pop over to spookclothing.com and have a little look at the items on there under the Harley's Angels collection. And please also have a look at the rest of it. You got some bits, my name on it, my pictures on it. You got some bits with Drew from Paranormal Postmortem and some other groups as well. So again, Claire, you're a star. Thank you very much for coming on. And
no problem.
At the end, and I'll no doubt hopefully see you tomorrow night. I'm not sure what's going on with John at the moment. Unfortunately, John's been a bit poorly, so I'm not entirely certain what's going on. So be worth probably sending a message and seeing if that. But if you need a backup or anything, give me a shout.
Yep, I will do. Thank you very much, Dan.
No worries. See you later. Thanks again, Claire.
See you later. Bye.
Cheers. So again, yeah, thank you very much for that, for everybody coming on, and thank you for all the chat. Thank you to all the mods. Trisha's just put up on there. I've been since John passed and still got the feeling like something was brewing, then went flat. In fact, about 4 of us fell asleep in the Bishop's room. Bishop's room, yeah, I've had a couple of bits and pieces. I've got a couple of nice photos from in there. In the witch's room, I did see the silhouette of a cat walk over my screen. But when I look back over the footage, there was nothing there whatsoever. So just say goodnight to everybody. Thank you, Griever. Drew, thanks for coming on, buddy. Good to see you. I'll give you a shout soon. Bon Hunter, thank you. Good night. Dawn Faye, good night. See you all soon. And I'm back tomorrow night with the Paranormal Sisters and Charity Warriors. Wednesday night, we've got Gemma doing card readings. Thursday night, as it stands, I'm hoping Brian Cano is going to be with me from Haunted Collector. I've just still got to message him and find out. If not, we will have potentially either a night off or a substitute. Friday night, Drew's back with his readings. If you want to have a reading off Drew Friday or Sunday, please pop onto the page. Please look at the events section, and there's the Eventbrite ticket section on there. You can go on there free of charge. It just puts in you in the list for a reading on the night, guaranteed. And on Saturday night, we have Daryl Marston from the TV show Ghost Hunters coming on. So I shall see you all tomorrow. Cheers, guys. Thank you.